Next on Sisterhood of the Second Act.
If you are caring for aging parents or a spouse, no doubt you have learned long-term care is expensive. Kimberly Whiter is CEO of Elder Care Solutions. They help families find sometimes out-of-the-box solutions to financing this care. And if you are a caregiver, life is stressful. It is important that you care for yourself so you can care for others. The local Office on Aging has services that can help. LOA Director of Community-Based and Rural Services, Chrissy Hannabass, is here to tell us about that. We'll meet these women on this edition of Sisterhood of the Second Act, right after this.
Sisterhood of the Second Act is brought to you by Pat Lucas is committed to providing independent financial advice to individuals, families, and small businesses. Contact Pat at 540-798-8104. 540-798-8104. Securities and investment advisory services are offered solely through Equity Services Incorporated, member FINRA SIPC, 4401 Starkey Road, Roanoke, Virginia 24018, 540-989-4600. Cabbie Fashions take you from the boardroom to the beach. Dress for a garden party or a night on the town. Independent cabbie stylist Darlene Marshall will make sure you look your best no matter what the occasion. She'll bring the store to your home for you and your friends or schedule a private consultation. Call Darlene 540-330-6819, 540-330-6819, or find her on Instagram at Dapper Darling, on Facebook at Darlene Marshall Independent Cabbie Stylist.
I'm gonna be an oak tree.
I think I'll be a dogwood tree.
My kids said they'd be looking for a thorny tree for me.
With Evergreen, you can be a tree. Our biodegradable urn combines your ashes, natural soil additives, and a native tree of your choice. Be a tree and grow for tomorrow.
I want to be a tree.
Learn more at evergreenmemorialtrust.com.
Looking for your first home or retirement home? Realtor Monica Nicely can help you find it. Whether you're moving in or out of the Roanoke region, call Monica 540-449-2019, 540-449-2019. Alcova Mortgage Loan Officer Jonathan Sweat helps you seal the deal with a loan to suit your needs with great rates and terms. Call Jonathan 540-314-8843, 540-314-8843.
Alcova Mortgage, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS ID number 40508, MLSConsumerAccess.org. Terms and conditions apply. All loans subject to credit approval.
Now from the Fox Radio Roanoke studio, here's Kathy Heberly.
Welcome to Sisterhood of the Second Act. I'm Kathy Heberly. More and more families are shouldering the burden of long-term care for loved ones. There is no one-size-fits-all solution, and navigating the system can be overwhelming. Kimberly Whiter is the CEO of Elder Care Solutions in Vinton, Virginia. They help families find a personalized solution for long-term care challenges. Thank you for being here today, Kimberly.
Thank you.
My pleasure. So first of all, what is Elder Care Solutions?
So we are focused on helping families with the financial strain that comes with caring for an elderly loved one. Our main goal is to put people on a more financially positive path, both in an aging experience and the caregiving experience.
That's excellent. So it is my understanding that you do not provide the care.
Correct. We are not a care provider. We are more of a consultative service that helps families find that more financially positive path.
All right, so what is your background and how did you get inspired to start Elder Care Solutions?
My background is higher education. I was cultivating a career for about 11 years in that space. And my entry point was at a national conference, actually. I was presenting on my work on interdisciplinary teams. So how do people from different backgrounds or professions come together and do the best work for a common goal? And one of the co-founders for Elder Care Solutions was in the audience and approached me afterwards. And that led into a year-long consultative relationship where we would just meet every month. And I was learning more and more about these really difficult situations that families were getting in when they were caring for elderly loved ones. And I was sharing my expertise on how different people can work together best. And eventually they invited me to come on and run the company as the CEO. And so I left my career in higher education and at the same time went through a personal caregiving situation. So I got to witness firsthand the stressful situations and the overwhelming situations of caregiving and knew I wanted to be part of the solutions.
I'm so glad you did. So we're talking with Kimberly Whiter, CEO of Elder Care Solutions. Who are your clients?
They are 99% family caregivers. So family caregivers is specifically defined as a family member or a close friend caring for a loved one in an unpaid manner. So if you get paid for caregiving, you're usually called a direct caregiver or a professional caregiver. Family caregivers are those family members that are stepping in and kind of shouldering the care for a loved one. And they are the people who are reaching out to us because they are finding themselves in financial crisis when they start caring for a parent or an in-law.
Right. It is overwhelming. Yeah. So if someone comes to who needs help meeting these challenges of the long-term care, what happens in their consultation?
So I ask them first, just tell me what life looks like right now. And that has been the question that just opens their world to me and can give them a space to just explain everything they're feeling and they're going through and the actions that they do on a day-to-day. And we can start unpacking what their caregiving experience looks like and where they need the most help.
That makes a lot of sense, and why it has to be personalized.
Right, exactly.
Absolutely, I totally understand that. From the consultation, you do make a personal assessment, and then what avenues of funding do you look into?
So we have a proprietary analysis that we've built and that clients will go through first. So their first step when we start our formal journey together is to do our analysis. And it is a quick 10-minute questionnaire. All questions are formatted in yes, no, so it's very easy because we recognize caregivers do not have a lot of time and they don't need to have a whole bunch of papers and files in front of them to answer this. But it does give us the landscape we need to give them what we call all their viable options for moving into that financially positive space.
Excellent. I really like that. We are talking with Kimberly Whiter, CEO of Elder Care Solutions, and everyone has heard of Medicare and veterans benefits. How do you help families navigate these confusing systems?
Sure. So the first confusing part is a lot of people are surprised, or they're sitting in a surprised state of how little Medicare is actually covering. And so we start looking at more out-of-the-box solutions that aren't necessarily that creative. It's just a lot of families don't know about them. So can we leverage assets that are in place? Can we more smartly juggle around the money that they have? Can we look into home wealth if there's an owned home and there's different ways to access the equity in that? Can we leverage a life insurance policy? And can we rearrange the insurance policies that are in place so that you are covered best and you're not spending as much as you need to on the premiums, right? So we really navigate this financial terrain.
Yes. And then when you go online searching for resources, finding reputable ones is a daunting task. It says Elder Care Services vetted all the resources and next steps your company recommends. Do you vet them, and so that you can recommend certain resources for them?
So resources that we are going to connect our clients to are most often what we call friends of Elder Care Solutions. And these are people that we've networked with and learned how they do their work, and do they approach it in a very holistic manner, as well as we will connect people to resources that sometimes even we discover for the first time, but we know how to look for them. And that's one of the key issues that caregivers have.
And vet them.
You have maybe 10 minutes in a day to Google in what you need, and you're looking at that first page. the first 5 things that pop up. And if you don't see what you need, then I guess it's not out there and you have to move on to other things. We know how to search more strategically to find the things, because we have clients from all over the U.S. So sometimes we're looking it up for the first time too, which is absolutely okay. But at least we're there to help and say, oh, we've looked into this and this looks really fantastic for your situation.
Very, very good. I really like that. There is a fee for your service. What is it and what does it cover, so people can be prepared?
So we charge a one-time $750 fee. You enter into what we call our client family, and that is a lifetime fee. So you will never pay us any more money. You get our proprietary analysis in writing, all of your viable options for moving to a more financially positive space, and then you can leverage us to guide you on, I see a particular viable option. This looks incredibly interesting. Can you help me? And we have already built in a lot of education along the way. So we want our clients to be extremely empowered by knowing their choices.
That's wonderful. We are talking with Kimberly Whiter, CEO of Elder Care Solutions, and the statistics on your website are shocking. 1 in 5 people in the U.S. are now classified as a family caregiver, spending at least 20 hours a week on caregiving and an average of $1,000 out of pocket per month. How do you see these statistics changing in the coming years?
They're going to get higher, unfortunately. This is something that I read about, write about, talk about every single day. And so I'm keeping my finger on the pulse of these numbers because they're incredibly important. And these numbers have come from 2020 and 2021. So they are reflective of how COVID has potentially changed the family caregiving situation. And $1,000 was a new number after COVID. Before it was $850. So you can see the jumps that are already happening.
Absolutely. That's really important for people, because if they're not budgeted for an extra $1,000 a month for some people would probably really be impactful.
Working caregivers are spending about 40% of their wage on care needs.
So what should employers know about the struggles of employees who are also caregivers?
Employees have an absolute opportunity to help this care crisis that we're facing in the U.S. And the way that they can do it is with the benefits and supports that they have in place. So first and foremost, they need to build a culture that makes it easy for caregivers to know that they can ask for help.
That makes so much sense. I really like that. So thank you so much for coming in today.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate the chance to talk about this.
It's my pleasure. We will have Kimberly's contact information in today's show notes at sisterhoodofthesecond-act.com. There's more Sisterhood of the Second Act ahead. Caregivers need to care for themselves, both emotionally and physically. Help is on the way after this.
Looking for your first home or retirement home? Realtor Monica Nicely can help you find it. Whether you're moving in or out of the Roanoke region, call Monica 540-449-2019, 540-449-2019. Alcova Mortgage Loan Officer Jonathan Sweat helps you seal the deal with the loan to suit your needs with great rates and terms. Call Jonathan 540-314-8843, 540-314-8843.
Alcova Mortgage, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS ID number 40508, MLSConsumerAccess.org. Terms and conditions apply. All loans subject to credit approval.
I'm going to be an oak tree.
I think I'll be a dogwood tree.
My kids said they be looking for a thorny tree for me.
With Evergreen, you can be a tree. Our biodegradable urn combines your ashes, natural soil additives, and a native tree of your choice. Be a tree and grow for tomorrow.
I want to be a tree.
Learn more at evergreenmemorialtrust.com.
Pat Lucas is committed to providing independent financial advice to help women build wealth and security. Call Pat at 540-798-8104, 540-798-8104. Securities and investment advisory services are offered solely through Equity Services Incorporated, member FINRA SIPC, 4401 Starkey Road, Roanoke, Virginia 24018, 540-989-4600. There's more Sisterhood of the Second Act coming up after this.
See where a grateful nation remembers its heroes, and where Thomas Jefferson came to relax. Where small town charm is just down the road from big outdoor adventures. Find peace and quiet, as well as the sounds of family fun. Destination Bedford is located where the Piedmont Plateau meets the Blue Ridge Mountains of Virginia. Where ordinary ends, Bedford begins.
Once again from the Fox Radio Roanoke studio, here's Kathy Heberly.
Welcome back to Sisterhood of the Second Act. I'm Kathy Heberly. Many people are finding themselves in the role of caregiver to a family member with a chronic illness. This is a stressful role, often undertaken while the caregiver is still working a full-time job. Chrissy Hannabass is with the local Office of Aging. She is the LOA Director of Community-Based and Rural Service. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having us. We're excited to be here.
For people who are not familiar with the LOA, just tell us a little bit about what it is.
I think you just said, but we are the local Office on Aging, and we're here in the Roanoke Valley off of Peters Creek Road. We work with adults that are age 60 and older. 60 and older, okay. And that's a kind of a good target market for people to keep in mind when they're, because other people think, well, I'm, 60, I'm not old. It's nice to have an age to it. There's nothing wrong with talking about that. And what areas do you serve? So we serve the entire Roanoke Valley, Roanoke City, Salem, we do Vinton, we serve Allegheny Highlands, Botetourt County, Craig County. So we're
pretty broad
in this area.
Okay, very good. And what services do you offer the elderly?
We offer we have over 30 different services that we do, from nutrition to education, all kinds of services. And we're going to be opening a new office actually next door to our current office on Peters Creek Road, which is going to be solely focused on nutrition.
So it's side by side, adjacent, but separate.
Yes.
You're not just, okay.
And it used to be the animal hospital.
Okay, so they can find, should they come in to talk to you, or should they call you on the phone? How should people start off if they want to learn more?
Folks can come into the office to talk to us, they can call us, and I guess you guys will be putting out our information, but it's 345-0451 is the number they can reach us at.
Okay, and besides nutrition, what are some of the other things that the elderly services so for people that are thinking, gee, can they help with this? Give us a few other ones.
So some of our probably biggest services that we do, we have Meals on Wheels, which is a hot lunch Monday through Friday. Yes. Okay. And such a great thing because it's kind of not just the lunch coming in to help someone, but also a check-in. So if you were out working and to come in to help your parents, we could deliver a hot meal.
That would be wonderful. I think many people would definitely appreciate that.
And you don't have to do a thing. It's ready to go and there's no charge. We serve anybody from the lowest of income to the highest of income.
That's wonderful. So, and it's a visit. Somebody, not just check in, but say hello and giving them a greeting. Yes, I think that's so important. We're talking with Chrissy Hannabass, LOA Director of Community-Based and Rural Services, and LOA also has resources for caregivers. I think that's what we'd like to hear about. Tell us about those.
So probably one of our biggest resources for caregivers, we contract with the Adult Care Center and offer scholarships. And if you're not familiar, the Adult Care Center is located across the street from the VA Medical Center in Salem. So this is a great resource for caregivers that maybe have to work during the day. This is a place your loved one could go and they would have a lunch meal. They would be cared for. They have activities there during the day. They can even get a bath at the center. So this is really great. And if they didn't qualify for Medicaid or veterans benefits, we could offer that scholarship for them.
That's wonderful. Can you help with transportation?
We can. Radar provides transportation to the Adult Care Center.
So they can.
And back home.
Okay. So that's really, if they get picked up and dropped off.
Yes.
That's
a big relief when you're trying to get to work and making sure your loved one is taken care of.
Absolutely. Yes. I totally agree. And when caregivers contact the LOA, what type of information can you provide?
So we have an intake case manager that typically answers all of our calls about our services. She can explain, everything that we offer here at LOA, but then also we keep resources within the community. Anything that we might be able to refer out to, whether that be social services, other transportation resources, hospice, home care.
So yes, and then tell us about you have a website too that people can check. What can they find on there?
So our website, it's loaa.org, and that's really got a listing of all of our services. It's got where our office is located, tells all about our nutrition services, all of our home-based services, really any information.
Okay. And probably frequently asked questions too
Yes.
that people have.
Yes, we
correct?
sure do. Yes.
That would be really nice. I think that's a lot of people, they just have one question. They don't, and then they won't call if they feel like it's not that important or whatever. So I'm really happy to hear that you have that. And then we know, I can attest to this, caregiving is stressful and exhausting. What can caregivers do to take better care of themselves?
I think the biggest thing a caregiver can do is really to make sure you continue to take care of yourself. Make sure you're doing your own medical follow-up appointments. You're still exercising. You're getting out socially with your friends. You're going to church. You're doing the things that you love to do and that take care of you as well, instead of just staying with your loved one. Make sure you have someone to come in kind of to give you a break, not taking all the responsibility on yourself, and reaching out to places like us or other organizations to help you.
To get the right. I think that's really, really important. We are talking with Chrissy Hannabass, LOA Director of Community-Based and Rural Services. And when should caregivers reach out for help?
You should reach out early and often. You want to reach out to see what's available before you need it. You don't want to wait until you're in crisis mode and then call up when you're trying to get everything immediately. You want to know the application processes early.
That's a really good point, because I think sometimes it's one of those things you're already overwhelmed, and then you think, what should I do? What can I do? And you can probably help avoid some of that overwhelm.
Yes, absolutely. We can get services set up before you're in a crisis situation, before you're in the hospital, rushing to get home to have a caregiver there, or to have that meal coming in. If you're getting this set up, you're already ready.
Oh, that sounds wonderful, so that people can feel a little bit more confident even taking on this responsibility. I really like that. And how can you help children of aging parents? So we're talking about adult children of aging parents who don't live near their parents, but say their parents live in our area.
Yes.
What can you do? How can you help them?
So if you do a quick call to our office, our intake case manager can give you an overview of our services within the community. And we actually have a care coordination and an options counseling program. And both of those, the options counseling is more self-directed. So if it was someone that was like their loved one was more able, we could give them a lot of resources. The client could follow up on them. If somebody was needing more hands-on care, the relative being out of town, that probably is the case. Right. Our case managers can go in the home and actually help get things set up for them.
Oh, so you can have people visit the home. Now, should the adult child try to be there at that time? So that I'm thinking of perhaps an elder parent who maybe isn't as mentally strong as they were at one time, and
certainly.
they may not let somebody in, say to the house or something like that.
And we do
Can you
encounter
help
that.
with that? Can you?
Yes, absolutely. The caregivers can certainly be there. If they're not able to be there, our case managers can follow up with them by phone, or could have them on the phone. While
That's what
they're
I
in
was
the
wondering.
home,
Yes, nowadays
speakerphone.
with electronics and things like that. Yes. So I think having a preset appointment would be very helpful. Perhaps even the child could have the parent on the phone at the time. When or something, make arrangements.
Absolutely, and to make the person feel more comfortable too. Sometimes it's nice to have a relative with you.
Do you have anyone that provides for safety advice in the home for like an elder parent living alone? I'm thinking of fall risks and things like that. Do you have people that can come and help if an adult child is starting to think maybe mom's slipping or falling and not saying anything? Do you have anybody, or can you recommend somebody to the families that could help with something like that?
So usually we would recommend probably home health to go in for that with occupational therapy. They can kind of look around the home.
So they would know what to make it safer and things like that.
Or even, agencies like Blue Ridge Independent Living Center that can put ramps in the home if they're needed.
Yes, that's what I was thinking, because perhaps they need even just something in the shower, a grab bar, things like that. It's things like when you're not living with the parent, you may not think of. And it would be nice to have somebody come in and do this evaluation for you and say, this is what I would recommend. So you guys have all those resources to help the family.
Absolutely. If we can't help them, we can definitely refer out to places or medical supply companies
that can help. I really think that's so important, because, like you said, we need the resources. Yes. So we do need to wrap up in a minute or two, but because LOA is a nonprofit and you help in carrying out your mission, you use a lot of volunteers. So please, we have an audience listening. Tell us, what kind of volunteers, what are you looking for in a volunteer? How often would they have to volunteer? Do you have to make a commitment, that kind of thing? Tell us all about your volunteer program.
We can use volunteers really almost in any capacity. If there's an interest you have, we can probably find a location to to put you in. We're always in need of Meals on Wheels volunteers to deliver lunch Monday through Friday. And I mean, you don't have to do it every day. It could be once a month or once a week, whatever works for your schedule. And that's really easier, just dropping off a lunch, checking on the senior, making sure they're okay.
So you get to visit with somebody too as well. And then do you have, are there things that if people want to volunteer but maybe they can't physically go somewhere? Like, do you have programs?
Yes, we sure do. We are always looking for Medicare insurance counselors.
Oh,
and that's
excellent.
An in-office.
Very
They
good.
wouldn't have to go out in the homes.
Oh my goodness. Well,
and we've got our big fundraiser, Let's Give Lunch, coming up June 17th. We're always looking for volunteers for that and anybody that's interested in purchasing a lunch.
That sounds wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having us today.
My pleasure. We will have Chrissy's contact information in today's show notes at sisterhoodofthesecondact.com. We'll be back to wrap up the show right after this.
Kathy's Wardrobe provided by Cabby stylist Darlene Marshall. See the styles in our show notes at sisterhoodofthesecondact.com.
Where there is nothing, artists see something. Where there is silence, they hear a melody. Where there is beauty, they create even greater beauty. In a region known for its beautiful mountain surroundings, our vibrant arts community makes the Allegheny Highlands a more colorful place to live and visit. Our passion for the arts is endless, and it's uniquely Allegheny.
Pat Lucas is committed to providing independent financial advice to help women build wealth and security. Call Pat at 540-798-8104, 540-798-8104. Securities and investment advisory services are offered solely through Equity Services Incorporated, member FINRA SIPC, 4401 Starkey Road, Roanoke, Virginia 24018, 540-989-4600.
If you're a diabetic, we have great news. You can end the painful finger sticks with a new CGM. Plus, they may be covered by Medicare, Medicaid, or private insurance. If you test and inject daily, you may qualify. Call US Med now to learn more.
800-472-8060. 800-472-8060. 800-472-8060. That's 800-472-8060.
Looking for your first home or retirement home? Realtor Monica Nicely can help you find it. Whether you're moving in or out of the Roanoke region, call Monica 540-449-2019, 540-449-2019. Alcova Mortgage Loan Officer Jonathan Sweat helps you seal the deal with a loan to suit your needs with great rates and terms. Call Jonathan 540-314-8843, 540-314-8843.
Alcova Mortgage, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS ID number 40508, MLSConsumerAccess.org. Terms and conditions apply. All loans subject to credit approval.
I want to thank Kimberly Whiter and Chrissy Hannabass for being with us today. Kimberly shared important information regarding long-term care solutions for our elderly loved ones. And Chrissy provided some excellent resources available to caregivers. I'm Kathy Heberly. Join us next week for another edition of Sisterhood of the Second Act.